keep it real with ya.
Hey everybody, it's me, Minu, back with another video. I don't even know what I want to talk about today. Because I got a lot of stuff going on um with regards to my hair and then issues like I'm starting to get really bothered by racism. I don't even know where to start. So I wore this to this white people coffee shop, white liberal coffee shop, it's just some average white guys in there making espressos and it's very overpriced, but they have a latte that I like, so I roll up, and it's always other white people there, and it's always very awkward, um, because it's like they don't know how to deal with me. It's in a white, affluent part of town as well, so not a lot of people of color there, unless they are, I don't know if wealthy is the right word, but rich, you know. That's really the only time that you'll see people of color there is if they make a lot of money. So I go there because I like the latte they got. It's overpriced, but figure out treat myself every now and then. But the white people there, they don't know how to interact with me. Like they get really awkward. The only ones that don't get awkward are the guys that actually work there because they know me now. They know the person who shows up, who's the only person wearing a mask. I'm always wearing some baggy pants with maybe some horror stuff on it. I'm overweight. They know who it is when I come in. So they're familiar with me now. And also sometimes there's a black guy working there, but I don't see him all the time. But like the white people who get coffee there, like they don't know how to interact with me. And I keep having these like super weird, awkward moments where it's just like they're standing around me weird or they're like standing near me and I could feel the energy of them wanting to say something to me, but not being able to or not feeling comfortable to, and it's just so weird. And I talked about it to some friends on social media, and one of the things that some white people will say, they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm trying my best to be anti-racist and and just is there anything I could do?" And I'm just like, treat me like a normal person. Just treat me like another individual who just happens to have a different skin tone. You know what I mean? Like, because yes, we all know the problem with the people who are mad at people of color. Like we all know those people. We don't fuck with them. But on the other side, the people who want to convince themselves that they're liberal or progressive, and they're so focused on how they got to be anti-racist, and they look at me and they're seeing black. Okay, she's black. I gotta do something. I gotta act a certain way because she's black. I gotta da 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 da. And they're doing all of that. And I'm seeing them do that. I'm seeing them have those feelings in real time as they're trying to formulate a sentence to say to me. And it makes me so uncomfortable. And I'm like, just treat me like I was a regular person. Why do you struggle with this so much? So I kind of have those awkward, and again, like, I know other people would be like, I'm never going back to the coffee shop again. I don't give a fuck about that. I want my latte. I want my oat milk latte. I got bougie taste. Okay. I'm gonna go get my bougie overpriced latte. And it's not like the people that work there, like they're fine. They're just some bros who are making coffee. They're having a great time behind the counter. They're just doing their thing. Um, and I also have gluten free pastries as well. Is why I like going there. Give me some scones and some muffins. It's fun. I like it. It's just the type of people that live in that area who regularly go there to get their coffee. It's just weird. I had one time with a guy who he didn't he didn't know how to speak to me, so he stood next to me awkwardly for a long time, hoping that I would notice him and then say something. And I usually have like I got the loops earplugs. I usually have those in or have my regular earplugs in because it's just so loud all the time. And I looked up at him like, "Is there something you want to say, sir?" And he was like, "Oh, are you in line?" And I'm like, "I'm standing in line. Was I not in line when you came in? I'm standing here." And I'm just like, "There's one register. Why would you think I wasn't in line?" You know what the line looks like. It's just weird. I had this happen today where I was going to get my coffee. It was super early. It was before Trader Joe's opened. So I knew there wasn't going to be that many people there. If you go after Trader Joe's opens at 9 a.m., it's over with. It's going to be super crowded. But I decided to go before Trader Joe's open so I can get my stuff and I can leave. So, this guy white guy gets in front of me. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I get behind him, but because where the register is, I don't want to block the door because I want people to come in. See, the white guy, he just didn't care. He just put his back to the front door and was just standing there like whatever. And I open the door and I'm like, excuse me. Like he couldn't step to the side for 2 seconds so that the people could come through. He's not even looking to see if people are coming to the door, even though he saw me walking up behind him. And he opens the door for himself, closes the door behind him, and then his whole body blocks the door with his back to the door. You saw me coming behind you. Did you assume that I was up there for something else, that I wasn't also there for coffee, sir? So I open the door and I'm like, excuse me. And then he has to move out the way so I can get behind him. And then the line moves up. And instead of me blocking the door, because I'm not like him, I leave space for people to come in. This white woman comes in. And instead of getting behind me, she goes to try to order at the pickup line. There's no register over there. It's literally says pickup. Like she goes over there, she tries to order. She's like on her phone, acting all busy. Like she can't see anybody. She's just in her own little world because she's on the phone. And she tries to order and they're like, oh no, you gotta get in line. This is just pickup. And she's like, okay. So then she comes and she side eyes me. And then but she pretends like she doesn't see me. Like she's like, it's like that thing where people pretend that they're not looking at you, but you know they looking at you. So she side eyes me real quick and then she gets in front of me because I left space for people to come through the front door. So she decides that's where I'm going to stand because of course. And she literally, instead of standing like the other guy was with her back to the door where she would have been able to see me on her side, she turns her back to me and basically hunches over and looks as hard as possible in her phone. She's like facing, like they sell t-shirts there too. She's like facing the t-shirt and the wall. And it's so awkward because you're obviously not waiting that's not how people stand in line, because usually when people stand in line, they face the back of the person in front of them or they face the register or they do like me and they face the menu because they're trying to see the menu. She's like actively trying to avoid me. I can tell she's uncomfortable. I wait a minute and then I go, excuse me, I'm behind that guy. And she's like, oh, yeah, yeah, sure, sure, sure. And then she's like steps back a little bit, but like her back still towards me. She backs up towards me and she's still in the line. Like she's still blocking the door. She's still in front of me. She doesn't get behind me at all. Like she just backs up for like 2 seconds. Like I'm just going to try and wedge my body in between her and the other guy. And I'm just looking at her like, if you're behind me, just get behind me. Why can't y'all do this? And so then I just go and I just say, okay, fuck it. I'm gonna wedge my body in between her and the other guy so she can finally back the fuck up. And now I'm blocking the door because apparently if I don't block the door, then I'm not in line. And that's how people there act though. Like people there act like that. They're quick to get in front of you. They do not care if it just gets on my nerves and it's frustrating because I know I studied race. I went to college, I studied all about race and all that stuff, and I understood all of it. And I took it and I was like, great, I understand. I can put it away. I don't have to dwell on it anymore. Um, but recently I've been having like these experiences where I've just been like, this a this a race thing. And I hate to think about it. I'm the last person who wants to bring up race. But once I spot it and recognize it as race, y'all know me, I'm so blunt. I can't stop myself from saying it. Like I can't pretend that it's not what it is. Once I realize what it is. Once my brain goes, "Oh, you're doing this cuz I'm black." Then it's like that those are the words that come out of my mouth. Nothing else is going to come out of my mouth. I'm not going to hint at stuff. I'm not going to passive aggressively, say this and that or talk around the subject. My brain will literally go, "Oh, because I'm black." You know, like I've had conversations with people where they'll be like, where a white person will be like, you can't do this, or you can't say that, or the way you said that was rude. And I'll be like, but that person said the exact same thing. In fact, they even used profanity when they said it. I didn't even use profanity. And they'll be like, well, that's what they did was different, but what you did was rude. And I'd be like, hmm, I'm a little confused. Something's not adding up here. And then later on, I might be talking with my therapist or something, and she'll be like, maybe because you're black. And I'll be like, damn, is that it for real? Well, now that I know that, oh, so you're doing this because I'm black. Like, I can't. Once I recognize it for what it is, I can't put it away. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's so frustrating. Um, but yeah, I've just become more sensitive to it. Like I was talking to one of my white liberal friends because it's something my therapist brought up to me too. Is like, in order for me to learn how to be more subtle, I have to learn how to use the words to kind of talk around what I was going to be like circumloquacious, where you kind of talk around what you really want to say instead of shooting straight for it. Like, here's your facts. And like, that's how I get across to people, and I can come across like more soft or whatever. It's not that my therapist wants me to be that way. It's just that when I ask her, how do I communicate with these people without them getting offended? That's the answer she gives me. Um, but I was talking about this with my white friend who is super progressive and is always arguing with their white family members about race, and people telling them that they're rude for bringing up race because we're all just hanging out with the family. Why do you have to call people racist? As they say, racist things. But I was talking to her about it and about how um working in a more diverse, and when I say diverse, I don't mean I need to go work with a group of black people. I mean there's multiple people from different races, countries, languages, ethnicities, everything is so different, because when you work in a diverse environment, I found that people from diverse backgrounds, not every background, but most of the people from diverse backgrounds tend to kind of respect my opinion more. And like I'll say something and they'll be like, "Oh, Minu, that's great." Or they'll like go and they'll learn something that I said before, and they'll be like, "Yeah, actually Mina's been saying this for a while." And I'll be like, "Oh, thank you. I have been saying that for a while. It's good to have that validation that I was right, and you let everyone else know that I was right and that I'm smart." Or they'll be like, "Minu knows way more about this than me." Or I'll defer to Minu because she really knows what she's doing. And I'm like, "Oh, thank you." But then every now and then I have these little interactions where I'll be saying something and I know for a fact that it's right, and the people around me know that I'm right. And then a white woman will say, mm, I don't know, meaning we're gonna have to check that. We're gonna have to find someone to figure that out because that doesn't sound right. Or, I don't, and it's just like, and I would get a little, I'd be like, but I'm like this, I'm the subject matter expert on this exact topic. I was hired for this. You know what I mean? Like, this is, I've been consistently showing that I know what I'm talking about in this area. And I've been right so many times to where when they do pull in somebody who's like more senior than me, they literally just co-sign what I already said. And then like people of color be like, "Oh, it was exactly as Minu said. Thank goodness we can write that down, da 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 da." You know, And then I'll have this white person be like, I don't know about that menu. And then I'll do a little laugh and they'll be like, we need to talk to somebody else. We need to get the opinion of someone else on that. Um, and I'll just be like, okay. And then I mute myself and I'll be thinking, like, why do you not believe? Like, why all of a sudden am I not a trustworthy source of information when I'm the subject matter expert on this exact topic? And I've literally not been wrong before about this exact topic. Now, it's one thing if you just, you know, maybe you want some documentation and you want a higher level person to sign off on the process or sign off on the document or whatever, as opposed to me. But to treat it as if I didn't know what I was talking about, so they have to go talk to someone else to get the truth, get the real answer for what's really going on. I was just like, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? Why'd you say that? Why'd you try to laugh like you weren't just insinuating that I didn't know what I was talking about? And then I thought, and then I had those thoughts, I had those feelings. And then I went to take my lunch because I was like, you know what? I'm over my lunch. I'm a little agitated because I don't really like it when people make me deviate from my regular schedule. And you've already made me deviate from my regular schedule. So I'm going to go eat. I'm going to de stress. And then I will come back and I will finish what was doing. And I move on. But in that moment, I was like, literally, no one else has had an issue with anything that I've said. And then it comes to you and it's like, I don't know, Minu. And it's just situations like that where it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And then when you bring in race, it's like, oh, or you just sit back and even if you're not involved, you just kind of notice a pattern of, it seems like when it comes to the teams that are mostly people of color, they're being given the jobs of three people per person, whereas the teams that are white people don't seem to be doing much of anything. And sometimes I don't even be the one to make that observation. Sometimes it'll be someone else telling me like, yeah, I've noticed in all the time I've been here that every time you ask a white person for help on something, they just say they don't know. Even if they're the expert on it, they just say they don't know and send you away. But then when you ask the people of color, they're all very helpful. Or when you talk to the people of color, they're being given so much work and they're completely overwhelmed and they're trying to say that they can't take any more and no one gives a shit and they just keep giving them more work. Meanwhile, I have no idea what this team of white people does. Because every time we ask them about something, they just say they don't know and then they just send you away. I don't know, find someone who does. But it's like they're the team that's in charge of that specific thing. You know what I mean? It's just I start to spot stuff like that and it's frustrating. I don't like it. I don't like having to think about race in that way because it's very frustrating, it's very upsetting, which is why I'm usually the last person to think that way. It's kind of sometimes has to be pointed out to me that okay, there's no other explanation for this at this point. Like I will give you every benefit of the doubt when I tell you. That's literally what one of my white friends was telling me. She's like, "You're a very trusting person. I will give you every benefit of the doubt before I assume that it's something like that. I will dig into your history. I will be like, okay, they're acting this way because, they are insecure about this and they have a history of that because maybe they had some trauma growing up and I will give you every excuse in the book before I even think about racism. And I know that that's not the right way to think about it because it leads me to being deceived often. But it's also like, I don't want to be the person who's always thinking about race because that's going to stress me out. And I don't want to be stressed out. So, and that's a problem too, is a lot of all or nothing. Like, it's kind of hard for me to be like subtly, I can tell I'm side eyeing people like, oh, that person's racist, but I'm not going to say anything and I'm going to like smile and be their friend and stuff like that. And I don't really think of a lot of people as racist. Um, More so, they have racist ideas or they've been raised in a racist environment where if they just had the right type of education or exposure, they would change the way they think, or I think of them as conservative or closed minded. It's not often that I see a person and I think that they are racist. Um, but I know a lot of people would disagree with me on that. And that's totally fine. Like you can totally be like, no, these people are definitely racist, Minu, and you should be mad at them. And there are some people like, yeah, Nazis. Yeah, we know that they're racist. I'm not gonna deny that. But outside of that, I give people a lot of benefits of the doubt. But lately, I guess my brain has been thinking about it more and it's just upsetting. Oh, look, we're already at 20 minutes. Okay. There's nothing I want to say about race too. Like when I'm talking to people, when I'm in these circles and I talk about race and there's these circles where there's a lot of white people and I talk about race, they automatically assume that if I just had black friends or black women friends, that would make things better for me. Like, oh, you just need to find your tribe of black women. And while that looks super cute on Instagram and Facebook, like a group of black women dressed up all fancy, drinking fancy champagne and eating expensive dinners and being on vacation in Mexico. And that looks super cute. I love it. They're beautiful. That's not my life. Not my life. I am probably, am I the highest earner? Yeah, at this point, because one of my friends, she don't work there no more. Yeah, I'm like the highest earner in my friend group, and everybody I know is grinding as hard as possible to either graduate college or stay afloat financially. I don't we not taking trips like that. I don't also don't have enough black friends to take trips like that. I'm not the highest earner in my friend group. There's well, I don't have a friend group, but of my friends, I'm like the second highest earner. But anyway, that's not gonna solve things for me because also being neurodivergent means that I don't feel super connected to black women because I'm not like them, you know. And if I was in a much more diverse area, maybe I could find a group of neurodivergent queer black women. Um but just where I am, most black women are a certain way because of the culture here, and I am the complete opposite of that. I don't vibe with them. They don't vibe with me. They don't even bully me at this point. They just avoid me. They're just like, "Oh, she's weird," and they go on about their business. So I can't do the black girl magic trip to Indonesia. Like, it's just not happening. Um, I don't even desire to have something like that. I really desire to have a more diverse friend group of people from all over. But yeah, being around black women won't solve my issues because I will still feel isolated and different and weird. Um, my therapist actually pointed it out to me when we were talking about whether or not I might be autistic. Was, you know, I don't do my nails because I'm very sensitive to the feeling of the paint on my nails, even if it's a clear coat. I'm sensitive to the feeling of paint on my toenails. I don't wear makeup. It makes my skin feel weird. um, I don't do a lot of beauty routines and mask and stuff because I can't deal with the strong smells of all of the different stuff in the facial products. Like even shea butter. Like somebody had me get on the shea butter train and put shea butter on my face, and it smelled so strongly that I couldn't do it anymore. It was just like choking me. You know, when it comes to hair, I don't know a lot about hair. I don't desire to have like cute hair or be walking around with knotless braids or whatever the newest trend is with hair. I have no desire for that. I don't care about laying my edges. I like them to be poofy because they're new growth. I don't need them to be combed out on my face. Um, you know, I don't care about dressing cute. I care about feeling comfortable in my clothes. Same thing with shoes, same thing with bras. Like I remember I was at a bra place and they were like, "We got a sale on these bras," and they were all lacy and sexy. I was like, "I don't need that. Give me the things that would be comfortable. If I can just wear t-shirt bras all day long to every event, that's what I would do." But my breasts are too big. So sometimes I need to wear something that has a lot more support in it, and it is what it is. But yeah, and don't get me wrong, I would love friends who I could travel with all the time. Like I'm working on training the girls so that I could leave them alone for, you know, a few days at a time and go places so I don't have to feel reliant on a sitter. But I just don't have that level of like physical support right now, and I don't believe it'll be solved by having more black friends. It's not like, and the friends that I have that are white, they're not the problem. Like they treat me like a normal person. Like I hang out with them and I talk to them and we straight, you know, I can wear my hair anyway with them and nobody's looking at me weird. Nobody's feeling awkward. It's not my friends that are the problem. It's usually like just the people around me who make me feel weird, like I don't belong there or something like that. I've also felt that way sometimes when I was in certain parts of the South and I went to an area where it was just other Latin people. And it was like a place where they wouldn't even expect to see non Latin people because the signs were all in Spanish. I saw the signs in Spanish, was like, oh shit, back go give me some chicharrones, you know, like, you know, back go give me some ice cream. Like, that's how my brain works. So I show up and I'm polite to everybody and they're like, oh, okay. But it's the thing, it's like people, it's just so homogenous in a lot of places in the South that you just feel weird when you walk in somewhere that doesn't have people that look like you. But also, when I walk into a place that's full of people that look like me, I still also feel like a weird person and the odd one out. And even when I go to events that are catered to my interest, I am the only black person. So that's why I don't vibe with the whole just find you a group of black women or try to have more black people friends, because it's not going to help me. Well, I'll end my talk about racism now, and then I'll go on to talk about my hair in another video, since I know you guys don't like to be around much longer than 20-25 minutes, because y'all don't have the best attention spans. That's okay. I'll just cut it up. I'll give you more videos. Anyway, I just want you guys to have a good rest of your weekend. Take care of yourself because you deserve it. No one's going to do it for you. No one's going to give you water. No one's going to give you food. No one can sleep for you. You have to sleep for yourself. If you're having trouble sleeping, I recommend melatonin, L-theanine, um, ashwagandha, magnesium. What are the other things I take? CBD oil. I take a variety of things when it comes to helping me sleep, because I have a very, very active brain and it does not like to rest for anything. But yeah, if you're having trouble sleeping, try any of those supplements. If you're having trouble with water, try adding some flavor to your water. If you're having trouble eating, just put some food in your belly. It don't have to always be the healthiest thing, but sometimes you just need nutrients. Um, I think that's all my advice for today. Enjoy the rest of y'all weekend, you guys. I love you. Bye.